Hello and welcome to episode 53 of Beyond the Finish Line, the podcast for runners of every pace, every distance and every goal. I'm your co-host Georgia. I am a marathon runner, a content creator and a soon-to-be mum. On today's episode, we are going to deep dive into me. Lucky you guys, we get to talk about me. This is a follow-up episode on last week's ep where we talked all about Coach Matt and his life up until now. And so today, we're talking about me, but before we get into that, we better introduce the other half of the podcast. This is Coach Matt. He is an Ironman, an ultramarathon runner. He is the owner of the Performance Project, head coach, and also my business partner. How are you going, Matt?
Fantastic, Georgia. We just had an awesome weekend at Stockton Tri, the triathlon that was meant to be, but
I know.
no, everyone else who actually raced had a fantastic time, and on a high at the moment. It's good.
Oh, me too. And do you know what? I had so much FOMO going into the race, and Nick, I was so excited for him, and I had fun playing the other half that, you know, sometimes Nick has done for me and all my really good friends do for me, and, you know, making sure I'm okay. And are you fueled? Do you have this? Like, you know, setting everything up the night before. But gosh, the minute he got into that water, I was like, I'm so glad I'm not doing this right now. So, pretty intense. But after seeing him finish, I'm definitely keen to give it a go at some point.
Yeah, I think it's pretty hard to go to one of those events, especially like a good local event that and walk away not wanting to do one.
Yeah. I think I
hard.
overheard my friends who have just started getting into running, I overheard them saying like, oh, this is actually really fun. And I was like, have we got a converted couple here?
Yeah.
So I was like, you guys could do the super sprint, you know, if you're comfortable in the water enough. Like, it looked fun. I had friends doing the super sprint, so it was cool to see them
Super sprint,
go.
you could almost, if you, as long as you know how to swim, you could almost get away with not training for it. Like,
definitely.
You could just dive in and work it out.
It really would be a great way to introduce yourself to the sport. There was lots of happy faces coming off the back of the super sprint. So, it looked really fun. So it's a great weekend, and it was really great to see Nick complete his goal and smash it out of the park. But yeah, as I said, the water looked really intense because they were swimming against the current for a little bit. And it was quite funny. I turned to you, Matt, and I was like, oh, the water was really like diabolical. They had to swim against the current. And Matt was like, yeah, they just don't know how to swim. Like, they're new swimmers. And I was like, shut up. It looked really hard.
Yeah,
okay?
you tried to argue with me. Actually, I believe what you said was the swim's fucked. As you're running towards me across the oval, that swim was fucked. Like, no shit.
Yeah, you're like, no shit. None of them can swim. And I was like, well, I was so stressed watching him like swim against the current because there was other people he was really good. Like, he was really worried he would have to stop. And, you know, like, in the lead up, I kept on saying to him, like, don't forget, you can just tread water if you need to. Do breaststroke, like, do backstroke if you need to. Like, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. And so then watching a few people out there, like, where they were swimming and they just weren't moving, like, they're in line with a buoy and then they're just not moving. And I'm going, oh my God, this person's not moving. Or the minute they stopped, they would just go back 100 meters. And I was just like, oh, this is so stressful. But he didn't stop and he made it all the way around. And then I think he was doing like, minute something splits on the way back. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. The leader got out of the water. He averaged a minute and 11. And he's like, normally I'm like a minute 40 swimmer. So
it looked really cool. I filmed him on the way up and on the way back, like in just different bursts and stuff. And the difference in his stroke from up to back was really cool. So he's like, whoa, look at me. I look so good. So yeah, it was really cool. But it was fun. I played content queen all day, got videos of everyone. And it was really, really fun to get some cool photos and stuff of everyone. So can't wait to get all that out. So but it was a great weekend.
Yeah, awesome weekend. And we had an age group champion, Margot, took out the win.
Yes.
And we had, just from Performance Project side, we had Holly came first overall in High Rocks, Auckland.
Oh, incredible. Yeah. There's been some really great results this weekend. I think Nick said he came fourth in his age group, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually haven't checked the other girl. They didn't tell me what they got. I need to check what they got, but we had some good performances.
Oh, they all did so well. It was
Mm.
just very inspiring events. As you said, they're very hard to leave and not want to go and do one. So,
Yeah.
yes, I think I might sign up for next year's one because obviously it might be a bit tricky
I am
postpartum to be
so
doing it.
glad you decided not to do it.
Oh, that's nice to hear because I was a bit like, oh, I probably could have. Idiot.
Yeah. I also I don't think you were expecting to be showing as much as what you
No,
were and everything. Yeah. I feel
no.
like you would have been very scared about hurting yourself and you probably would have had a bad experience.
I think so. And you're totally right. I definitely didn't expect to be showing this early. And Nick said he got kicked in the face in the swim.
Oh, yeah,
And he
that's
was like,
normal
yeah. And he said, like, I'm pretty sure I accidentally kicked a few people. And I was just thinking, I was like, yeah, like if I had got a decent kick to the stomach, considering how much I'm showing,
though.
it wouldn't have been great. And it was so hot. Like,
Yeah.
I reckon I had, like, not to be dramatic, but, you know, I got home and I was like, have I got heat stroke? Like, you know, when you're just burnt and hot and like you're like so
Yeah.
dehydrated. And I was like, if I had have run that 5K, I would have just been so unwell. So yes, I'm very glad I didn't do it. Smart decision. Go team for helping me come to that conclusion.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah, I guess that's kind of our highs and lows for the week.
I was going to say, do you have any other highs and lows to add, Georgia?
No, nothing to add. I'm feeling really good at the moment. Very grateful, very happy. And yeah, after the weekend, it was just so much fun. So nothing else to touch on.
Yep, same here. I'm pretty happy with how everything went, and now we don't really have anything on the calendar for a little while. So
yeah, I think we've got athletes who are doing Western Sydney 70.3. We have
that's still 12 weeks away or something, 13 weeks away.
I feel like it's going to go so quick. What else do we have?
We've got New Zealand in between that, but not many are going to that. And then we've got UTA.
Oh, yeah. And UTA, that's in March. May. Oh,
it's like a week after Western Sydney. Yeah.
Plus we've got Hoka Half here in Sydney. And yeah, there's lots happening at the moment. So very exciting. But yeah, it was fun to be there to spectate. So can't wait to get out to Western Sydney and spectate the 70.3 as well.
70.3s are the best spectator sport because they're over in like 4 to 6 hours. So it's a little bit longer than what we were there for on Sunday, but the vibes are way higher.
I don't know how they can be way higher because that was just such a vibey, and it was so tiny that even that was just so much fun. But I think because it's only an hour and a half-ish or 2 hours that you're spectating for, I feel like you're really trying to get in as much of the content and see people, you know, like they're only passing you 4 times on the bike. So you're like, I've got to be over there, got to run there. And then you got to run to the next one. Whereas I feel like maybe with a 70.3, you have a little bit more time to relax as opposed to just being like full blown hectic the whole time.
You'll be surprised.
Damn it. It's like, I don't know, that 2 hours took it out of me. I'm like,
we're going to have like 13 athletes doing it. So we're going to be everywhere.
Oh, preg is me. I'm going to need like a little mobility scooter.
Yeah, we'll get you an e-bike.
Yeah, get on scooter or something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But if you are doing an event in 2026, whether that is running, trail running, or triathlon, you want some one-on-one coaching, performanceproject.com.au. Links in the bio. Come check us out. You can work with me. You can work with Ant. You can work with Toby. You can meet Georgia.
You can meet
Come do all these fun events with us.
I know. Come to the fun events to us. A couple of the girls on the weekend were like, and if they're listening to this, I'm so sorry. I won't say who you are. But they were like, I actually followed you before you I started training with Matt. And now it feels really odd to be meeting you in person because I've known you so much on the internet. And I was like, nah, I'm normal.
I know we've spoken about this before. It's such a weird experience. I only get it really at triathlon events, but people come up. This fella, and I'm so sorry, I can't remember your name. He came up and was like, Matt, how you doing? Shook my hand, introduced himself, and then said, and this is Sam, right? And I was like, and I very, very rarely talk about Sam on social media. But he like knew, I was like, it was like a really weird experience. Not weird like off, it was just like, like I forget how much people know about me and I know nothing about them.
Yeah, hard to get used to.
yeah, it is, yeah. I have nowhere near the following you do, and also living in the country, don't really see that many people. Sometimes it's just like really confronting.
Yeah, it can happen. And like even like I'll be out with my girlfriends and there's generally someone will come up to me at some point, like especially around the eastern suburbs of Sydney and stuff. And like we were at the beach the other day and this girl came up and she goes, hey, you're that runner, aren't you, on TikTok? And they're like, we follow you. Georgia runs a marathon or something, right? And my girlfriends are like, oh my God, are you joking? And I'm like, yeah, hey, like I'm just like, whatever, I don't really mind. But yeah, it always catches my friends off guard when it happens in a really random place.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Let's talk about you, Georgia.
I'm like, I don't need to introduce my own segment, do I? What's going on here?
Oh no, we'll just riffing. We didn't, even though we hung out on the weekend, we didn't really catch up a lot, so we had so much to talk about.
I know. We're almost catching up now because genuinely, guys, we barely even spoke to each other on the weekend just because we were both so busy doing stuff, trying to make sure like athletes are okay. I was trying to get content. At one point, Matt's like, Georgia, are you getting the content? And I was like, Matt, you do your job. I'll do my job. We just parted ways.
Yeah, I don't think I spoke to you until you went home.
Yeah, literally. And Matt's partner Sam was like, oh, don't worry, he's just being bossy. I was like, oh, I'm not being worried. I was like, I just told him off. It's fine. Anyway, yes, we are here today to talk about me and my story and my journey into running. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and I thought we'd do this a little bit differently because we sort of changed the structure with how I did mine and it went really well. So we're going to change the structure with how we did yours. We kind of broke it up into a few different segments. We've done your running journey. We've done work and life before content, performance project, beyond the finish line, and then we'll get into social media and becoming a mum and a few other things. So I think it'll give people a different angle to you rather than just the classic story.
Yep. I love it. Yeah. Because I mean, there's no real big moment like story like with you and stuff like that. There's a couple of really key moments and stuff, so that's a nice way to put it. So yeah, I'm excited to get into it.
I would counter that with I think there are some definite key moments in your story, but I think this will just give people a different angle towards them.
Great, can't wait.
Cool. How did you actually get into running in the first place? Like, how did it start, and did you ever think running would be what it is now for you?
Absolutely not. I never thought I'd be into running. How did I get into running? So in the second lockdown, Nick and I were stuck in our place in Kensington in Sydney, which is kind of right near Centennial Park. And so at the time, which is still so wild to me, we were given an hour from the New South Wales government that you could go outside, do anything recreationally as long as you weren't around other people, and kind of do what you wanted in the hour, and then you had to be home, which is just so wild because it's like, how were they really tracking how long we were out there? But we couldn't quite get from home all the way around Centennial and then back home again within the hour. And Nick had just said, oh, I've seen some friends running and I want to kind of get into running. And at the time, I was just doing a bit of walking and boxing and stuff like that. And he was like, do you want to join me? And I was just like, well, I can't run, but I'll try. And yeah, my boxing coach had got me to do a bit of running for a couple of my sessions that I was doing with her privately, COVID safe private sessions. And yeah, I couldn't run around the football oval that we were doing it at. I couldn't, it was just a regular AFL oval and I just couldn't run around it without stopping. And she was a bit like, oh, you probably should change that. Like, that's not very good.
You should change that. Great advice.
Yeah. And it's so quick. I was so fit boxing wise. Like, I could like really smash out a good set and I loved it. And I could do, the burpees and all that kind of stuff. But when it came to running, I just couldn't do it. So yeah, Nick said, let's go for a run. And went around Centennial and I had to stop quite a few times. And then my goal ended up just being if I can get around Centennial, which is 3.78 kilometers or 6.8 or something. If I could do that without stopping, that would be a really cool goal. And on that day, I ended up doing 4K and then I kind of caught the bug when I got that runner's high from getting the 4K without stopping. So that's kind of my rough journey into running.
It's really interesting that people say you've got to get into running. Like, I feel like everyone should be able to run. Like, Do you know what I mean? Like it's such like just a human thing, and
Yeah.
now it's this thing that you have to get into. And
Yeah, and
yeah,
she definitely, when she, like my boxing coach at the time, she was kind of like same mindset. She's like, everyone should be able to run. Like you should be
mm,
able to go for a really light jog around the block and not have a problem with it. And so she was like, let's try and build on that fitness a little bit. I think she just could realize that I was probably lacking in that little bit of fitness beyond just a set of boxing.
mm. And then like, how did that change your relationship with running? Like when you first started running, what was your relationship versus obviously now you have like a love relationship for it, but how did that work?
I have like chronic asthma like my whole life as a baby, really bad, like hospitalized and stuff. And I always used that as kind of an excuse as to why I couldn't run. It was always like, oh, I have to stop because I have asthma. And most people would be like, oh, okay, like sure, whatever. And this one day my brother was like, yeah, you've got asthma, Georgia, but you're just unfit. Like you can have asthma and be able to run.
Love it.
And so,
Great
yeah.
bluntness. Good man.
Yeah, and like that's my brothers to a T. Is like they're just like so blunt, but they mean really well. And so I always kind of use that to fuel myself to be like, okay, I do have asthma, but that's not an excuse. And so I always had a relationship with running that was very much like I can't do it and I'm not capable because I've been given this like long-term, asthma. And yet now I don't even think about my asthma. I don't even need my inhaler much. It's just a fitness thing. Now I'm so much fitter. I mean, I probably would now, but now, yeah, I went from hating running and thinking I couldn't do it to being like, what's my next challenge? I can do this. Anything I set my mind to, I know I can complete in a time frame.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I just want to hit back on the asthma thing because I think that'll like resonate with a lot of people, even if it's not asthma, but like everyone has this thing where they're like, this is why I can't do it.
Yeah.
What was the mental battle like when you first started running? Was that little voice in your head always like, my asthma is going to kick in, or something's going to happen with my asthma? Like, was that always playing?
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh. I'd run around the block of like where we lived, and just a regular block in Australia, not like a Sydney block or anything like that. And I would need my inhaler and I'd be like double puff, like, and I was probably running too fast. But then like now I could go for a run and not even take an inhaler. It's less of a security blanket kind of thing. And that, as you said, could apply to lots of things. Like for some people, they might not be able to run without water, or there's certain things like, oh, I'm too overweight to be able to run, or I'm a girl, or I'm really slow, or whatever it might be. But yeah, the asthma definitely was a security blanket. Like, what if I have an asthma attack when I'm out in the park and I die? Like it's when you've got like anxiety and stuff, it's very scary. But when I started realizing that it's not something that, one, I need to be ashamed of, or two, that is really going to affect me if I let it, it really changed my life. And I just go, I actually, like, my lung health improved heaps. I rarely ever need my preventer, which is the one I used to have to take before I'd go for a run. And then I took one while I was out running. I barely even need those anymore. So, yeah.
Interesting. Was there a moment where, I just think like that, people will be able to apply it to so many different things. Was there a moment where, and this will fall into a second question, was there a moment where you were like actively, I don't need this anymore? Like there was a day or a run where you're like, I'm at a level of fitness where I probably don't need to worry about this as much.
No, I don't
think a gradual thing.
I think a gradual thing, because it would be like I'd forget my inhaler, or I'd forget to take my preventer. That was always kind of the security thing, was the preventer what I knew would stop me having an asthma attack when I was out on a run. And I'd forget it and I'd be like, oh God, and then you'd start to panic and have like a panic attack when you're running and stuff. But it would be that I would forget to take it and then I wouldn't panic about it. And then I would go, okay, I don't actually need it when I'm out running. And then
built up that confidence.
Yeah, definitely a lot of confidence stuff. Like, I mean, now if I was to go and do an interval session or a race, a confidence thing, if I have it, I feel more confident. And I think that it's a bit of a mental thing as well as it is a physical thing. But definitely over the years, as my fitness got better, my asthma improved. And I'm not saying it's 100% from the running, but my doctor has always said to me, he was like, you need to be more fit because it's going to help your asthma.
Interesting. Cool. what was the moment where running shifted from, this is something that I want to try and do, I'm trying to learn, I'm trying to make it a part of my life, to, oh, this is like now a huge part of my life and it's something this is what I do now?
I think when I'd signed up for Sydney Marathon and I was getting some really big long runs in and becoming part of the actual running community in Sydney, I think that's kind of when it switched. Pre-Sydney Marathon 2023, I did a half marathon I did the Sydney half marathon the year before. And even then I was a bit like, oh, it's kind of just a thing that I'm doing, like everyone runs, whatever. Whereas once I started documenting it and it kind of became more of my like quote unquote personality, I think that's when it started to become more of my life and more about doing it because I love it. Like you don't sign up for a marathon just to do it. Like you sign up for a marathon because you want to do it and you love the sport and you love being a part of the community and getting out there and doing hard things. So yeah, I think that was probably the turning point, was about kind of during that Sydney Marathon training when I started to get invited to community events and stuff.
Do you think creating content sped up that process?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Because, when you start creating the content online and posting about it, then people want to chat to you about the content, and then they want to chat to you about your involvement in the community and getting out there and doing things. And I think it gave me something more to talk to other people about. And, it then gave me kind of invitations to community events or brand events and things like that. And that kind of made me feel like I had cemented myself a little bit more in the community because I was so new to the sport. And traditionally, if you're kind of not someone who's been in the community for such a long time, it's very hard to get in because, everyone's been doing it their whole lives, and then you kind of just come along and you're a recreational runner. So yeah, I think that was kind of it did definitely speed it up, if that makes sense.
Do you think that shifted though now, like with running being as big as it is? And obviously this was sort of COVID for you, end of COVID. Now that running's a far more inclusive sport, you probably don't need to have that background or that long-standing spot you could come into a running community and be very welcomed and be a part of it pretty quickly.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of runners now as well have realized that the more people that get into the sport, the more opportunities there are for everyone. And so
100%. Rising tide raises all boats.
Yes, exactly. And, I think everyone's gone from being like, oh, there's just so many people out running, to being like, oh, how good is it? Like everyone's outside, having fun. I think there's also a lot of the new runners have learnt a lot as well as how to be more respectful within the sport as well. I would say they went from very little run clubs to a boom in run clubs to now back to a very normal amount of run clubs. For a while there, it was kind of run clubs were just kind of ruining the atmosphere for everyone. Whereas now it's a lot more chill, and I think everyone's just happy for everyone to be having fun and enjoying it. I think the only time that the community is a bit funny is around when they can't get race tickets and stuff, but
Yeah. Again, I'd put that in a positive column, like the fact that running is so popular now that races are selling out. That means there's going to be more races. It means there's more money in events. That means the quality of events are going to rise. So
100%.
While it's an inconvenient for you, for all it is a net positive.
Definitely, because, as you said, the race just gets better when there's more people doing the race. Then, like, look at Sydney Marathon, for example. Like, it would never really sell out. They were trying to sell tickets. Like, we've got spots left, come and join us. For
years, it wouldn't sell out.
Yeah, like it wouldn't sell out. And they're trying to get people and trying to get sponsors and trying to improve the course and stuff. Whereas now, because so many people do it, it's so well recognized, we have way more on course. There's more support. There's more activations, heaps more stuff. So it is a lot better that more people do get into running. And I think that's why the community is just so happy to have more people on board, because you just want more people to enjoy what you love doing as well. And the same goes for the triathlon community. I felt like I really felt that on the weekend.
Yeah, it was funny. I guess as a coach, I see the progression of so many athletes where it's like they start as runners, they run a lot, they get bored of running, and they're like, what's next? I'm like, well, you've got trail running or triathlon. Which one will it be? And they're like, then they'll just pick their road.
Yeah. It's like, do I want to go down this road of 3 different sports or just
Yeah.
one that's a bit more like nature?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're the options. I'm like, you'll just get there. I have this joke. Almost every athlete who starts the performance project, I'm like, so which Ironman would you like to do? And they're like, I'm here for a 10K. I'm like, I know, no, but 3 years, which Ironman are you going to do? And they're like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then
You say joke, and then he says it so often that people are like, is he serious? I'm like, no.
I am serious, yes.
I like that I'm the voice of reason, though, with people. Like, that athletes will come to me, like, in person as a joke and be like, is he joking? And I'm like, yes, he's joking. Don't worry. You don't actually have to go and do an Ironman.
But seriously, you do.
Seriously, you do. Yeah.
I feel like when people meet me in person, they don't know how to take me until they spend a couple of days with me.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I think once they've spent a bit of time with you,
I have a very dry sense of humor. People on the podcast get it.
Yeah, you guys get it.
Yeah. Let's change gears a little bit and talk about, you probably don't talk about this an awful lot, but like life outside of running and content and the performance project for that matter. What's work like? What's the career path? Like, what do you do?
I know not many people know what I do actually.
Yeah.
I work for an amazing Sydney-based jeweler. We're called Nicholas Hayward Jewellery. We're a family-run business, and I do all of the photography, content. I do so much. A bit of production. I do all of our e-commerce. As I said, it's a family-run business, but we deal with big clients. So, I see clients every day. It's a very mixed role where I spend a lot of time with different people from all walks of life. Like we might have someone coming in for their first ever engagement appointment and they're 25 and they're, really excited because they've saved up all their money. And then on the other hand, you have, clients who are worth millions and millions and millions of dollars and they're just like here to buy their wife something beautiful. And yeah, so I do that, which is really awesome. I've been doing that for 5 years now. Before that, I was actually a nanny because I lived over in the UK.
I always forget about that.
Yeah. So, yeah, when I lived in the UK with Nick, I was a full-time nanny for a beautiful English family in Notting Hill, a very stereotypical English family. And yeah, it was pretty awesome. I traveled all over the world with them doing that. And it has a very soft place in my heart. I absolutely loved being a nanny. It's just such a beautiful thing to do, to be a part of someone's family like that. And then I came back to Sydney and I wasn't a nanny here. And then my current boss, Nicholas, the owner, he approached me and was just like, I love what you do on social media. Would love to get you on board. But it'll be a role where you do a little bit of everything. And so, yeah, I've been doing that for 5 years and it's really grown. And, I manage our Instagram. I manage my own personal Instagram for that. My personal running Instagram, the Instagram for the podcast, the Instagram for the performance project. So I do a lot of that kind of social stuff on the side as well.
So were you making content before you started running? Was that how Nicholas found you?
Yeah. So I've been doing content for such a long time and not really getting like super far with it, which is kind of funny.
See, I didn't know that. I didn't know this part. I only know Georgia runs a marathon from the content side of things.
Yeah. So, gosh, I actually studied fashion design. So I went to a college in Sydney and studied fashion design for a couple of years, and I really wanted to get into the fashion industry. And I started making content around like dresses that I'd been making, and I used to sell them on Instagram. And then when I moved to the UK, we were huge into traveling. So Nick and I started a travel Instagram, and I used to take photos in all the countries we'd go to, like that classic Pinterest, Instagram, like do you travel kind of account where, that very aesthetic Instagram. It was before video. No one really did any video on Instagram. So, so we used to go all over the world and I'd be like, okay.
I actually remember just saying that when you used to see a video on Instagram, you'd be like, fuck, like this is going to be a shit. Like you didn't even want to watch it and you just scroll past it. Like, give me some more photos.
Yeah, God, what was it? I'm seeing if I can
Does it still exist? Can we
It
plug it in
still
the show notes?
exists. Yeah, no, you can definitely have a look. You can put it in the show notes if you want. It's quite funny. There's not many followers, but it was called Our Getaway Life. Nick and Georgia, travel couple, bless. I think I haven't even updated it in such a long time. We went to about 37 countries in the 2 years we were away together. But yeah, I'll show you, Matt, because you can see it on the screen, and people who are watching this on YouTube can kind of see it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It was like very aesthetic, trying to, but yeah, I just kind of did that. And towards the end of our travels, we'd started to get some brand deals where hotels would be like, oh, come and stay at our hotel, and like, 5-star hotels. So it was pretty cool being able to do that. And then when I got home, I just did a bit of everything and was kind of just working with activewear brands because I was going to the gym and boxing. And then, got into running, and I thought, why not I couldn't find online anything about running a marathon for the first time because at the time no one was really doing content around that. And I thought, well, what better way to start kind of getting into it and stuff here was to do like a realistic social account. So yeah, that's kind of where it all started.
See, I had no idea you were doing social media before. And I think, again, like, underlying theme of just Beyond the Finish Line is just like consistency, and just like trying and trying and trying. And it's like, okay, these things weren't working, but then because you continued to try, you found your thing, and then it took off. So I think a lot of people forget about that overnight success is actually 10 years in the making.
Yeah, true. I think, well, since probably, I want to say 2016, I've been like posting just for fun because I really liked it. There was never such a thing as like an influencer. Like there was really big influencers back in the day, and they were huge. Like they had hundreds of thousands of followers, which at the time was just insane. One of my friends at the time, she had like 30,000 followers, and we were like, whoa, she's famous. Like it was huge at the time. And then it wasn't until I kind of went overseas and I met my best friend Grace that we were part of this community over in the UK, that the kind of founder of the community was really empowering women to charge for posts, and that kind of wasn't a thing until then. And so I never really took it seriously because I was just having fun and really enjoying doing it. But yeah, I've definitely been consistently kind of posting things that I love doing since 2016.
Yeah. I'm trying to process that because I really didn't know that bit about you. And
that's good. I mean, we're all learning stuff here today.
Yeah. I just think like there's been a couple of really good nuggets with the asthma and that's like, just because shit isn't working or you've got things that maybe aren't advantageous, like if you just persist and you keep doing hard things over and over again, like eventually it'll work. Yeah.
And like, I think my biggest thing has always just been don't get caught up in the numbers, like even now, like I still don't have a ton of followers compared to so many people. Like, as I said, like I know people with hundreds of thousands of followers and they're doing really well for themselves. But, I just do my own thing and I'm so happy with my community that I'm building and I love what I do and I love my job. I love doing the performance project. So, I don't get caught up in the numbers anymore. And I think that's kind of the underlying thing here is like, yes, I've been doing this for 10 years but only in the last 2 years has it really been helping me in my actual life.
Yeah. And I think, I've noticed a lot more now with social media, like followers don't matter like what they used to. It's just all about the engagement and like the quality of the content.
Yeah, for sure. And that, like my girlfriend Grace, who I met over in the UK, she now works here for one of the largest beauty brands in the world. And she does a lot of stuff with really big influencers. And she said to me, they could be paying out, contracts that can be, 5 or 6 figures. And she said, we're not looking at followers, we're looking at engagement. She goes, it's never about what the number is. It's always what the engagement is like. What's their community like? And she said that's why, you will find smaller creators who do really well because their engagement's so good because they've built a community. And so, yeah, I think that's my biggest tip for people is just, don't get caught up in the numbers.
Perfect segue. Talking about community. We can talk about the performance project.
Yay! Let's.
Yeah. Why don't we tell people like how you first met me, how you first got involved with the performance project? We'll go from there.
So Matt actually DM'd me. We were both working for this company called Aid Station, I think, as ambassadors. I think Matt was one of their first ambassadors to come on board, and then they had approached me to, or I can't remember actually, maybe I filled out a thing to say I'd love to like work with them. And yeah, it was kind of like they give you stuff and then they would post my content on their page. And so, yeah, Matt contacted me and was just like, hey, I saw your stuff on socials and I'm thinking of doing this business. But what are your thoughts? And I think at the time, Matt hadn't explained it in a way that I could understand.
I explained it in a very Matt way.
In a Matt way, right? And you guys know us so well now that you know that we're chalk and cheese. So Matt explained it in a very Matt way and was like, right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to charge this much and it's going to be this community and it's going to be really, really good. And I just want to coach people and like, what do you think about it? And I was just like, and I think at the time I was a bit confused. Yeah, I was a bit like, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
And I was just like, is this a scam? Like, I'm so confused. And Matt always talks about how when we first replied that I was pretty blunt back to be like, I don't know. But I think at the time, because I'd worked with so many random brands that completely burnt me, that I was a bit like, I don't really know. On. Yeah, totally. My walls were up, my guards were up. I was a bit like, is this actually going to help me? Like, what is he actually going to want from me? Is he just going to use my content and like never actually give me anything? And so then, we kind of drew up I was like, oh, can you make a contract or something? Because you had said to me, oh, why don't we just start by like, you could do some content for me and I'll coach you for free or something. And I was just like, okay, like we'll just do. I was like, but I need a contract. And I think you just wrote it in an email to be like,
yeah, I did,
Matt, we'll like coach you for free. And I was like, yeah, like that's in writing. That'll do. And so, we kind of just met through that and got along really well. And we were just chatting heaps and you were asking me advice on business and content. And I was kind of picking your brain about training. And then I'd already run Sydney Marathon. And then you had said, why don't I like properly coach you for Gold Coast Marathon? We'll start like a proper training block. And it wasn't until the July. And I think in the January, I was like, so can we start now? And then, the rest is kind of history. That's kind of how we met and we got chatting and then we just became really good mates and then we did the podcast and then I got involved with the business on like a more of an actual specific level.
Yeah. I chat GPT this because I didn't know how to talk about myself. So I was like, hey, help me chat. And so what made you trust Matt with your training, especially through like your injuries and the big goals? Obviously sub 4 was the biggest one we were chasing.
Do you know what? I don't think there was anything specific. I just had a vibe. There's just a vibe. I was like, this guy's, gut feeling. I'm huge on gut feeling. And I just went, I think I just knew that I was just like, well, it's either I do it or Matt does it. And he seems to know what he's talking about. And any conversation we had, you just knew exactly what the right thing to say was. And it wasn't as if you were trying to be a know-it-all or you were trying to like school me or make me feel stupid. Like you always made me feel like my feelings were valid, my concerns were valid, anything that, I was worried about, you didn't make me feel stupid for worrying about it or being upset that a run didn't go well. You were just like, nah, all good. And I think that's so important with a coach is that you want someone who listens to you and doesn't make you feel stupid if things don't go right. And
it is my pet hate in coaches when they are condescending.
Yes, thank you. That's the word. Yeah, you weren't condescending. And so when it came to, I think, even the sub 4 goal, though, that just kind of snowballed into a bigger thing just because we were having fun with it. And like, it became like, I didn't get it at Gold Coast, so let's try again for Sydney. And it was never like, oh, I'm going to put like this big goal in the hands of Matt. It was just like, oh, he's really great. And I just trust him. I don't know, gut feeling.
Love it. Love gut feeling. I'm going to tweak what chat asked for this one. So chat asked, how did becoming part of TPP change the way you approach running and performance? I want to know how becoming my business partner changed your perspective on everything. So you can give people backstory of what happened and then how it's changed since then.
Backstory. After Sydney Marathon.
Pre-Sydney Marathon. It was the 2 nights before. Night before, 2 nights before, when we had team dinner.
Oh, yeah, God, was that before? Far out. It's all a blur. we were at team dinner and Matt was doing a prezzo on like athletes who'd done really well during the year, and he gave them an award. And then he had this kind of speech about me, which was, I was like, what? And then, yeah, you just kind of said, and just kind of say thanks. And I really want Georgia to see how like much I appreciate her. And he's like, I'm going to bring her on as a co-owner of the business. And I was just like, wait, me? Like me? We're talking about me over
This
here?
Georgia?
This gal, the content gal. Yeah, I think because I was just really passionate about it, and I loved helping out, and I loved being part of the community and doing stuff with you, and then to be recognized for kind of hard work, and that you were saying to me, you know, like everything you do is valid and we need you. And so, yeah, being recognized. And so then, yeah, the day after Sydney Marathon, you sort of like check your emails and there was a contract in there, and I was like, holy shit, is this actually happening? So yeah, I kind of forget what the question was though, because I was just a bit flustered.
I said, how did becoming a business partner or being part of Performance Project in like an ownership sort of status change your approach to your thoughts about running, community, all those sorts of things?
I think I was so passionate about the community in the first place that I was just happy to do it and charity is the wrong word because it wasn't. It was just something I really liked doing. But then when you're actually part of a business and you feel really valid, and like it kind of just gives you a little bit more of a, okay, well, me being the kind of bossy gal who gets up there and tells people what to do, or like, hey guys, this is what we're doing, or I want to implement this. It kind of just gave me a little bit more confidence to be someone who could do things. And I think it took me so long to be able to say like I was a co-owner, because I just didn't really believe that I deserved it. I was like, I don't know, just me. But yeah, it's just kind of changed because I feel like it's just giving me a lot more confidence in in our TPP community, and also just, yeah, being able to help other people. And it's not like it doesn't change anything in that I want to help more now because I've got, you know, a stake.
You were kind of already doing the job.
Yeah, I was already doing the job, but now it's just the recognition and the thanks is kind of there. And you just feel like you're just a bit more valid. You're just like, yeah, you know, there's none of that kind of Stockholm syndrome where you're just like, I actually deserve to be here and I am part of the business and I want it to do really well. And so it just kind of drives you a little bit more.
Yeah. And for people asking like how I decided to like give Georgia equity in the business and bring her on, gut. We go off gut.
See, there
gut
you go.
Feeling. Yeah.
Gut for you, gut for me.
Yeah, gut feeling. I thought that was a nice little tie together there. I was just like,
well
I
done.
knew it was the right decision. I was talking to Sam about it and she was like, are you sure? I was like, my gut just says yes.
Yeah. And it's hard to know. Like it would be hard as someone, as you said, you're giving away a piece of your baby to someone else, and it is a lot. Like, are you sure gut feeling is enough? And yeah, like I didn't have to give up a lot for a business, like to be a part of your business and stuff. But, you know, it's the passion and wanting to help and wanting to be there and wanting to be a part of something bigger. And, you know, it's a long-term thing where you know that someone is then going to be as passionate about your business as you are as well.
Yeah, I think that is the thing where people come unstuck in business deals is people are super passionate at the start, motivated, doing all the things, but are you going to be as passionate about insert whatever your business is in 10 years time? Because when you're a co-owner, you can't just like, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm leaving. Like that doesn't exist. Like this is it's like, if you're like in 10 years time, I don't want to be a mum anymore. Like, too bad. You've got the kid. Like, it's here.
Yeah, exactly. And like, you know, it's smart on your behalf too, as a business owner, to be like, I see potential in someone and this is a really great way to lock them in, and not like forcefully or anything, but like, this is how you know that someone is going to want to be around long term, is because they've got more of an invested interest in your company.
Yeah, absolutely. That brings us to where we are now, beyond the finish line.
Hey!
How did, again, guys, for Performance Project and Beyond the Finish Line, I've chat GPT'd these just because it's awkward to talk about ourselves and ask the right questions. So chats come through in the clutch. How did the idea for Beyond the Finish Line podcast start? How did it originate?
You guys have probably heard this story, but it's actually, I love this story so much. And it's just a funny little tidbit that happened between Matt and I that then turned into something a lot bigger, and it snowballed into something very serious.
Story of our lives.
No, literally the story of our lives. So I actually remember, I couldn't tell you the date, but I remember the day. I was sitting on a bus coming home from work, and I was about to go to a nail appointment. And when I'd first started coaching with Matt, he used to send kind of voice notes, or these like Loom, this program called Loom. He'd like look at my training for the week, and he'd like really deep dive into it. And I used to love them. And I'd listen to them on the bus, but I wouldn't really watch what he was kind of talking about too much because I'd get car sick. But I'd listen, and I used to always reply back because he'd always go, "Oh my God, this has turned into like a 15-minute podcast." And I would always reply back and say, "I love our podcast. Like, don't ever stop our podcast." And because we would voice note so much because I was just too busy to text, it just snowballed into like, "Oh, it's our podcast." Like, ha ha ha, here's another podcast. And then, yeah, Matt just kind of said, "Well, I actually have a podcast. Do you want to start one together?" And I just was like, "No." No, I don't. Like, no one wants to hear me. I've got no knowledge in the, running space. Like, no one wants to talk about me. And so then when he kept persisting, as Matt does, with anything like Iron Man or coming on board.
Once I think I've got a good idea, like, that's it.
Yeah, he just kind of said, "No, like, I'm actually serious." So we started kind of spitballing ideas for podcast names, and we were throwing back and forth different ideas. And I had said something about pace because there was a story behind it. And we're like, "Oh, it's kind of good, but it's not as catchy." And then Matt had mentioned like 5 different names, and one of them was Beyond the Finish Line. And I remember at the time I was like, "Oh, there's this amazing photographer that I follow, and I don't know, it's really similar." And I was like, "Georgia, get out of your head. No one's going to make that connection." And so I was like, "Yeah, that's the one. It sounds really good." And we kind of just did the first episode. And I know in the first episode we say like, "Oh, we don't even know if this is the name yet or if it's going to stick." And I don't think we talked about it again after that. It was just like, "Oh, that's it."
Yeah. It's
done.
Too much mental energy. Yeah.
Yeah. We just were like, "Oh, that'll do." And then, yeah, thousands of listeners later, and we're here 1 year on, 53 episodes, and it's gotten really serious all of a sudden.
Isn't it funny, the amount of pressure we put on ourselves at the start so that we need the right name, we need the right branding, we need the colors to look good, we need to be on all the platforms, we need to have the right microphones. And then after one episode, we're like, what was the name again? Like, who cares? Like, let's just keep recording.
Yeah. And like, even, even with then like the logo and stuff, I remember I just found some pictures of Matt and I and just threw them into Canva and was like, "I guess this will do. Like, we need to have a logo that's consistent." And I mean, we've updated it once, but even then I'm just like, "Oh, well, people know it now."
Yeah, they know it. Exactly.
They know it. Yeah.
What gap did you feel was missing? Because, like, obviously I had my perspective with the coaching side of things, but I'm interested to hear what you thought. Like, what gap did you want to fill in the podcasting space? Like, why did you think it was a good idea?
I just knew that there wasn't a space. Maybe there was, but I think I couldn't really find anyone that was a beginner runner who didn't know a lot in the space. I feel like a lot of the space is full with people who know a lot, and they know a lot of the technical stuff, and they know like all of the really technical things. And I'm just not someone who absorbs that kind of stuff. I know a lot now because we talk about it all the time, but I just wanted to be able to find someone that I could relate to. And because I couldn't find that, I was like, maybe I can be that person that people can relate to. Just like with my Instagram, I couldn't find that. And so, yeah, I just wanted to be able to be the voice of our listener, like when you're thinking of something, like if Matt was talking and you're like, "God, I wish I could just ask what threshold is. Like, I don't get it. Like, what's threshold?" And then you have to Google it. And I want to be the person that's like, "Hold on, what's threshold?" Let's take it back a step. Let me ask the things that you might find silly, or let me be the voice of our listener. And so I thought that's what I could bring to the table, was to be that I could be, I am our listener because I am. I'm still a beginner runner. I'm still learning, and Matt's the one with all the knowledge. And so we thought, that coach's corner kind of coach is there and I'm here. And yeah, I think it works really well.
Did you ever worry, because we are chalk and cheese, oil and water, did you ever worry that wouldn't blend on audio or online, or that there was ever going to be conflict?
I think in the first 4 or 5 episodes where you were like really letting me sit on air in the dead air, and I was like, I don't know if this is going to work, man, because he's just like, I was like, I'm too nervous. Matt is too like funny and banter that I'm like, I don't know if this is going to come across the right way.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I don't know. I was like, we'll give it 10 episodes and we'll see how we go. Like if it's not being really gel, like if it sounds like we're too awkward, I was like, we'll pull the pin. But at least we've done the 10 episodes and we've given a really like a crack. But even as I think you guys can, you can hear our relationship develop over the course of 53 episodes. You can really see us become better friends as well. Like everyone always says, I love your banter. And even, people from all over the world, that's what they always say to us. I love your banter as Aussie mates, And so I think that's so good, is that we both just hang shit on each other like siblings do. And I think once we realize that is what our thing is, and we don't actually have to worry too much, that it actually, it ends up working really well.
Yeah, I agree. I think as soon as you lost the fear of, and for context, guys, I had about 30 podcast episodes where I was the Georgia, where I wasn't the expert. I was being the interviewer, and I was allowed to look dumb. I think once Georgia let go of what are people going to think of what I'm saying? Is this a good question? Does this sound right? It like really started to get like, okay, we can have some fun now. We can have some traction. Yeah.
We can just relax a bit, I think when I let go
literally, as she said that, she pulled the mic back and leant back and was like, feet up on the table.
I think, like some of my favorite podcasts are ones where they're like, you can just tell they're just chilling, Yeah. And you're so right. As soon as I let go of that whole, like, I need to be a really great presenter and I need to look like I've got a lot of knowledge and I'm really smart, or, that I sound like I belong in this area. As soon as I let that go, I feel like people then started to go, oh, I can relate to her. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the same with my socials. It's just like, when you just be relatable and be yourself, people really like that. So yeah, it worked out well for us, I think.
I agree. Last question on Beyond the Finish Line. I'm genuinely curious about this one. This is probably the one I've been looking forward to most. What's been the most surprising or meaningful conversation you've had on the podcast so far?
There was an episode, I think, again, we mentioned this at our end of year thing, that the dark side of endurance sports, I think. I don't know if it was that episode or not, but no, it actually wasn't. I did love that episode. But there's an episode, I think it was my sub 4, and I spoke about, and again, we all know I love talking about that, but it was the post-Sydney Marathon, and I think I mentioned about how I never thought that I was a runner and I looked like a runner and I had the body shape of a runner, and to be able to achieve a goal that really meant a lot to me was really important. And that conversation, I know I got really emotional during that conversation, and I had a lot of people contact me after listening to that episode of the podcast and saying, like, thank you so much, like, for saying that your goal is valid no matter what you look like and how you feel like, whether or not you fit into that perfect mold of being a runner, or just being someone who's into sports, whether that's high rocks or boxing or whatever it is that you do. Seeing people actually being like, thank you for saying that was really, really important to me. But again, that dark side of endurance sports, where you talk about your own mental health struggles and then the dark side of, social media and online. And I feel like that was a really powerful conversation and an episode that I really enjoyed recording as well.
Yeah, that's in my top 3 favorites for sure.
Yeah, it was good.
Last topic. Going to become a mum.
Yay.
We're going to talk about Nick, talk about life, just talk about like what's going to happen coming forward. How has Nick supported you through marathon training, through injuries? Obviously, you have a hectic life just in terms of your content commitments, and now adding pregnancy on top of that. How has Nick played like a huge role in that?
Just like a kind of a bit of context with that whole nannying thing before, it kind of gives you guys an idea as to like why I'm so excited to be a mum. And, you know, when you've gone from that looking after someone else's children and loving them like your own, and then now I finally get to have that, that's so exciting. And Nick has been so amazing through this whole journey, I guess. Especially with like the sub 4 and my running, he has always said to me, like, you know, anytime I'm in my head about it, like, oh, I'm not a runner, or I don't look like a runner, you know, my body shape's different. He's so good at just being like, who told you that was the person that is a runner? You know, he is kind of like the person who, a little bit like you, he's very straightforward, very much will just go, okay, your feelings are really valid. Totally understand why you feel that way, but this is kind of, let's look at the facts. He's like very analytical, very, here's X, Y, Z. And so anytime that I've been in my head about running or this pregnancy or anything like that, he's really good at bringing me down to earth and really good at calming me down. And so, yeah, I feel like we've made a really good team so far, which is really good, especially coming into being parents and stuff like that. So we've both feel very aligned, and I think that really helps. But in terms of him helping me through my running, he's just been like, he got me into running. He's been the most amazing support. He's always like so happy to film content for me to make sure like I could get a brand deal or something like that. And then coming into the pregnancy stuff, he's very much been like, don't worry, have a rest day. Like, you need to rest. You're growing a human. Like, you're doing amazing. You know, every day he'd just go, you know, it's going to get better, when I was like really in the trenches. And he's like, it's not forever, you know, tomorrow's going to be better. And yeah, he's just been like so incredible. I honestly, you always dream of having a partner that's going to be supportive and loving. And he's just like all of those things. I'm just so lucky.
Yeah, Nick definitely doesn't get the credit he deserves on this podcast, because without him, the podcast might not even exist. Literally.
Without Nick, I probably would have been in my head way too much. And he's just always like, just give it a go. What's the worst that could happen? Just give it a go. Like, do one episode, see what happens. And, you know, still to this day, after every episode, like usually on a Monday when I'm recording this at home, he's working in the office here, and I'll kind of go in and he'll go, how was today's episode? And I'll always be like, it was really good. Like, the banter was really good. Or like, we had some great questions. And he's like, oh, that's great. And, you know, he listens to every episode. And so he's probably going to listen to this. So
shout out, Nick.
Shout out, Nick. We love you. He's the best. So, yeah.
Yep. Nick, I'll see you in WA at the end of the year, bro. How has pregnancy shifted your relationship with running and movement now? Obviously, I think this one's really important because you had a goal where you're like, okay, I'm doing this triathlon. Matt's finally whittled me down. I'm going to do it. And then the curveball of all curveballs come down, because also that goal with doing a triathlon came at a time where you didn't have any running goals and you were struggling. So you're like, found this thing. You're like, perfect. I've got this outlet. I'm learning this new skill. And now the rug has just kind of been pulled out from underneath you.
Literally. That's a great way to put it, is that the rug was literally pulled out from underneath me.
Not literally.
Yeah. Thank you. Literally. Yeah. Well, everyone always said to me, like, I was very open with like my close friends and family about the fact that we wanted to try to have a baby and stuff. And I'm a planner. And so it was very much, you know, like your in-laws and your parents, like, when are you going to have kids? Like, you know, when you get married, and people, instantly, when are you having a baby? And so I was very much just like, I've got to get to Sydney Marathon. Sydney Marathon is my goal right now. Don't want to think about anything else but Sydney Marathon. And so I knew once Sydney Marathon, like as we spoke about in a previous episode, like that weight was lifted off me. It was also kind of my nod from the universe that I was ready to start a new chapter of my life, which is becoming a mum. And so, yeah, I was always told by people, when you're trying for a baby, don't stop doing the things you love doing, and don't not sign up for races and sign up for things because, you know, oh, I might be pregnant. And Matt, you and I talked about this quite a bit, where I was like, oh, but I could be pregnant by then. And you were like, no, like, just like, let's wait and see what happens. Like, let's not get ahead of ourselves. And so, Yeah, I signed up for the triathlon because you had literally forced me, and I had no
Again,
other
not
choice.
literally, but
Well, okay, you think that. He was like, Georgia, if you don't do this, I am taking away your co-ownership. No, I'm only joking.
I did put it up for grabs if she didn't go sub 4. I said that if she doesn't get it, it's up bidding war.
He's like, look, my whole business relies on you getting sub 4. So, no choice there. But so yeah, when I felt pregnant, I was so happy, and I was like, I'm going to do it. I remember at the pool, I was talking to this like older gentleman, and I'd almost spewed in the pool, and he's like, are you okay, darling? And I was like, oh, I'm just pregnant. It's fine. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, oh, what are you doing? And I was saying I was training for a triathlon. He's like, what do you mean? And I said, oh, no, I'm still going to do it. Like, just totally delulu. This is pre 6 weeks. I was probably like 5 weeks pregnant, feeling great. Anyway, and he's just like, no. He's like, you shouldn't do that. And I was like, oh, this old man just wants to tell me what to do. And then I got really sick, and I was like, oh, wow, it is totally different. No one, I don't know, people tell you get sick and you don't feel well and you're really tired and stuff, but it is like you're a different person. Like, I could not run to save myself. If someone said to me, you have to run around Centennial, I would be like, I actually cannot do it. And so it has been really difficult to go from, being very consistent, very disciplined and all of those things, and really praising myself for the fact that I was super consistent, super disciplined in all of my training. I never missed sessions, and I loved it. Like, I didn't purposely go, oh, I don't want to do it today, whatever. But when you are pregnant, you go, okay, I actually can't do this today, and I need to actually listen to my body. And I was really bad beforehand. It's like, if I could feel an injury or sickness coming on, I'd still push through. Whereas now I go, okay, well, I've got to think about something else now. And I have to think about the baby, and I have to think about myself. I have to think about Nick. And so my OBGYN, she had said to me, she was like, your body is literally producing a hormone right now that is going to stop you from wanting to do these things because it wants to protect the baby. And she was like, so anytime you feel like you can't do something, and I had said to her, I want to do this triathlon. And she was like, yeah, you could do all that. Like, there's no problem. Like, you're allowed. It's, it's all science backed. It's fine. But she was like, don't feel guilty when you need to rest, because your body is physically stopping you from doing that for the better good of your baby. And she was like, and as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't actually have to feel bad about this. And so now I just kind of wake up and I'm like, do I feel good today? Yep. Could I go for a run? Yep. Or should I go for a swim? What am I going to feel good doing? And so it definitely changed my relationship with running, because before I felt like I really had a purpose in like trying to get better and improve and do all these things. Whereas now it's just purely just for enjoyment and movement and keeping myself healthy for the baby. So yeah.
Great answer.
Poor Matt, he's probably like falling asleep. He's like, oh, stop talking about the baby.
No, I think you hit that from a very different angle that you did when we did the announcement, which I was a little bit hesitant on that question. It might have been a repeat for some of our listeners, but I thought you hit that from a different angle, which was great.
Yeah, and look, even like it's been a couple of weeks since I announced it, and like even then I've learned more. Like every week I learned something different. So I feel like I'm growing a lot in that space as well. So yeah, I'm getting there.
Yeah. What's your hope to model for other women when it comes to movement during pregnancy? I'm assuming there's also, because you are a plan for postpartum, like self-comparison, all of these things that even women who are not pregnant deal with, and you've been a voice for pre-pregnancy, but now going into pregnancy, postpartum. How do you plan on doing that?
I was really nervous coming into this pregnancy that people would get like disappointed in me. And I'm very much someone who worries about strangers being disappointed in me. I was worried they'd be disappointed because they wouldn't have me to look for in training and something to be inspired by or get up every day and do their things. But lots of people have said, I'm really excited to watch this journey for you. And so I guess I just hope that people, again, look at me and go, I'm a regular person. I'm not some amazing athlete, marathon runner, Olympic person who has still trained through their pregnancy, and these women are incredible, but I'm a regular woman who's getting out there and just doing it as it comes and feeling good and trying to just have movement. And so I hope people can look at me and not feel guilty if they're not training, but then also feel really good and feel like they can train as well, because the pregnancy space is so confusing and so stressful, and it really preys on your emotion because you feel guilty about doing anything because you're just like, what if something happens to the baby? Like, you spend 9 months just stressing about the baby. And so I hope people can look at me and go, okay, you don't need to be afraid. Like, you can, listen to all the right people and take people like myself as an example to be like, okay, well, she's done it. And if she can do it, maybe I can do it too, because I can relate to her. And just like with her marathon training, if she can do it, I can do it as well. And so I hope that I model that, you don't have to be superhuman, but you can just do things you like doing.
Again, nailed it. You've definitely, you've thought it through, which
I've really been thinking about it a lot the last couple of months, about how I can help my community if they're going through this as well. And, there's a lot out there of people being like, I read this on the internet, or I heard you can't weightlift, or this post says this. And it's like, okay, let's look at the stats. Let's look at the science behind it. And yeah, you actually can. If you did it beforehand, all of the doctors say if you've done it before, you can do it during pregnancy, no problem, as long as you feel well. And so if you listen to your body, and hopefully you can see me online doing things when I feel great and resting when I feel shit. And so maybe they can, take that into their own pregnancy journey, whenever that is.
Perfect. And then last question I've got, guys. It's been 65 minutes. We'll end on this one. As you step into the next chapter of your life, you're going to be a mum. What do you want the journey to look like? What do you want to do?
Oh my gosh, how exciting. Yeah, I think just getting through a healthy pregnancy, and then, as you mentioned before, postpartum, just doing the same sort of stuff, just getting back into it. I want to be, and on the weekend I really saw this. There was a woman probably around my age, and there was a man holding this baby, and the baby would have been like 9 months old or something. And she had her swimming cap on and goggles, and she was about to start the race. Like, she was right next to Nick. Anyway, and he's going like, go mummy. Like, and I just was like, how cool is that daughter is going to grow up with a really cool, strong mum who just like got out there and did stuff for herself as well. And I want to be that. I want to be someone where my kids, children can look up to me and go, oh yeah, my mum still runs, or my mum does triathlons.
My mum's a badass, yeah.
Yeah, like my mum's run 5 marathons. What's your mum done? And so, like, I joke because, like, every mum, like, do whatever you want. But, like...
But also, at the rate running is growing, that will be every mum in 10 years.
I know. It's no longer as cool as it used to be. Yeah, it's so I think I'm just thinking a lot lately about... I want one day my kids to go, my mom's a badass, and like, she did cool shit. She did hard things, and so I can do hard things too. And, she's a part of this awesome, coaching company, and she has a podcast, and like, yeah, I don't know. I think, look, not looking too far ahead, but as we said, I'm a planner. So I hope that one day I'm still doing what I'm doing, but I'm juggling being a mom and working and doing all this sort of stuff as well, because I love it. And yeah. I think everyone
starting
should do what they
TPP
love.
Kids, yeah, it'd be a whole thing.
Yeah, TPP. Oh my god, cute.
Get them the mini tri suits, it'd be sick.
So cute, little athletics. Oh, I die. A little like TPP onesie.
Yeah, it'd be sick. 2 hard things straight across the chest.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, guys, I hope in the future I can inspire you, and maybe you're doing something really hard, like having a baby, or I don't know, starting a business. Hopefully I can help you with that as well.
I think that was a successful episode, Georgia. I think you showed people a different angle of you compared to previous times we spoke about that.
Yeah, and I was a little bit worried that I'd just be repeating myself, because I personally don't think my story is that interesting compared to, say, Matt's. And so Matt was like, no, we definitely have a whole episode to chat about you. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, Georgia wanted to split the episode in half.
I was like, we don't need to talk about me for that long.
And George's episode right now is 11 minutes longer than mine. So
I know, it's just so many facets. So yes, but thank you for asking me all those fantastic questions. They were really great, and I've really enjoyed talking about this shock horror.
I think it's important, like we said last week, I think it's important that for newer listeners, maybe people who joined halfway through the year, end of last year, that they know we are normal people with faults and issues, and we are not, I don't know, this weird, perfect person who makes content and does podcasts and goes and just runs marathons or Ironman for fun. Like, we're just normal people working it out as we go along.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, it's been really fun. So thank you so much. This has been episode 53 of Beyond the Finish Line. Make sure you head over to Instagram and follow us at beyondthefinishline_pod, and head over to wherever you get your podcasts and make sure you like, subscribe, download, leave us a review. That would be super, super helpful. But thank you so much for listening.
Hooroo.
Bye.